Michael Burke. He reads the Beano. It's Russell Howard. And their team captain, Lee Mack. And facing them tonight, Dancing with the Stars, it's Anton Dubek. Propping up the bar, it's Danny Baker. And their team captain, David Mitchell. But first, ignore local planning permission and raise the roof for your host, Angus Deaton.
Good evening and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show in which our guests are called upon to lie and deceive deliberately, despite none of them having the necessary political or journalistic training. In some ways, lies are like Take That. They come in all shapes and sizes, but like Take That, they can also come back and haunt us years later. And lying is the #1 reason that relationships fail. That and putting a delicate wool wash on at 60 degrees. And it has been known for suspected liars to have to prove their innocence by carrying a red-hot iron bar in their bare hands for 9 paces. But enough about round 2. Let's concentrate on our first round, Home Truths, in which panellists read out a statement from the cards in front of them and the opposing team seek to establish whether it's the truth or a filthy lie. As ever, they'd like me to point out they've no idea what's written on the cards at this moment, by which I think they mean don't blame them if they cock it up. Anton has been chosen as the first to boldly go.
I recently helped Bruce Forsyth hang a picture in his bathroom.
What was it a picture of?
It was a picture of everybody in this year's series of Strictly Come Dancing. All the contestants, all the pros, all the judges, and Bruce and Tess.
Did you do the adjustments and he was just stood behind going, hiya?
The producers of the show had this and they asked me if I would drop it round. So I took it along and I hung it in his bathroom for it. Then we popped off and had a round of golf.
What's Bruce Forsyth's bathroom actually like?
Well, quite large, really. I mean, it's not dissimilar to this area here. It's...
Well, Angus Deaton sitting on the toilet. The thing about all bathrooms, I mean, well, all the bathrooms I've been in, there's never usually a big space for a picture. There usually tends to be, like, lots of mirrors and cabinets. And I'm picturing Brucey having lots of cabinets full of lotions. Yeah. Particularly for the barnet, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
just varnish.
What's
I can't listen to this any longer. This is Bruce Forsyth you're talking about.
Whereabouts is the house? Just give us the rough area. We don't want to know the street or the number.
Well, it's over by Wentworth.
By Wentworth, is it?
The golf club.
Okay.
Is it tastefully furnished?
It's beautifully furnished.
Well, it bloody sounds tacky to me, what you've described so far. He's got a picture of himself in the bathroom going...
Lee's team?
What do you think, Michael?
Kill him! Turn into Caligula.
It was straight.
Well, what do you think, Russell?
I think it's a lie.
I suspect it's a lie. Should we go for lie?
Yeah.
They're all unanimously saying lie, so Anton, reveal all.
Well, alas, it's a lie.
It is a lie.
There we go.
Well done, fire. Yep, it is a lie. Anton did not help Bruce Forsyth hang a picture in his bathroom. Bruce only has one picture in his house, and that's a painting in the loft that remains youthful whilst Bruce gets older and older. So, Russell, your astounding fact, please.
I was Argos Nationwide Employee of the Year, 1997. A few people applauding.
Congratulations, Russell.
And how long were you an employee of Argos?
I was there for 3 years.
How old were you at the time?
I was 17 in 1997.
Right.
What do you think you were particularly good at? Why do you think you won the award?
Just going, yes, I'll get that for you, and getting it.
You were national employee.
Apparently there was yeah.
So there must have been some sort of with a rounds and a final. I mean, how did they analyse that your performance was so much better than your colleagues?
Do you know how they do it?
It was an Argos factor. Yeah. Simon Cowell going, you're rubbish!
What's sad about it is that each store puts forward their kind of young employee of the year, and then they have a mystery shopper come round, and you sort of know the time period they're going to arrive. So you're kind of on your toes, you know, making sure...
Again, just there, just one customer. So were you at school for some of that
time? It was at college.
Yeah, oh, right, so it was like a part-time job? For
yeah.
Yeah. So the employee of the year was part-time. On the basis that he's not there long enough to do as many fuck-ups as anyone else. I have to say, the thing that I wasn't buying it at all, but the sending a mystery shopper around, that seems like quite a plausible system.
It seems plausible.
Yeah, but
you seem quite pleased with that yourself.
So you think it's a lie?
I'm suspecting it's a lie.
Well, I'm going to go with my team and say it's a lie.
It's a lie. OK, Russell?
It's a lie.
Yep, it's a lie. Russell did not win Argos Nationwide Employee of the Year 1997. Strangely, the one thing they don't sell in Argos is really short pens. Michael, you're next up.
I used to share a house with Sue Lawley.
All right.
What period of your career was this?
Oh, very early on.
Right. You were just housemates, you weren't in a relationship.
That's a rather intrusive question, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you don't have to answer it.
No.
I think the answer would interest people.
Well,
particularly if it's yes.
Yes. No, I need to clarify this. We were in the same house, but not in the same relationship.
Right.
Okay.
I was frightened to death of her, actually.
And were you the only two?
No, there were several other people.
Other newsreaders.
Trevor McDonald. Every time the chime went to 10 o'clock, they all looked up like that.
And where was this?
It was in Cardiff.
And the house number?
I can't remember, I'm afraid. Do you remember all your houses? I'm trying to be honest here.
I think the phrase "I'm trying to be honest here" could be overused in this game. So why were you and Sue Lawley both based in Cardiff?
We were both trainee reporters on the same newspaper.
Which newspaper?
It was the South Wales Echo.
Can I ask, if we produced Sue now, and we're not going to, and we said, what is the one big story that both of you would say, yeah, classic night? What would it have been?
No, actually, I seem to remember that that somebody caught a sturgeon.
Well done.
Somebody caught a sturgeon in the Bristol Channel. Whoever it was gave it to the newspaper, and Sue cooked it for dinner at the house. And we all had a dinner party eating this sturgeon.
Well, why did you get it?
Well, we were working on the newspaper, you see, and whoever wanted publicity or so. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. Come on.
Well, it's sturgeon night. I mean, I remember the details of every sturgeon-based anecdote in my armoury. Yes.
I don't know. It was the door number thing that threw me, knowing this story might be in the offing.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I tell you, a year and a half with Sue Lawley and nothing went on.
You can't believe that?
I can't believe it, I'm afraid.
You think she'd have jumped him at some stage?
Yeah, I'll go.
So we think it's a lie.
They're saying it is a lie. Michael, time to come clean.
It's all true.
It's absolutely true. Nice work. Yes, it was true. Michael did once share a house with Sue Lawley. They used to sit down together to watch 9 o'clock news, and if there was a long pause at the top of the show, one of them would realise they were in the wrong place. And so, with all the vitality of a taxidermist display cabinet, we come to round 2, Ring of Truth. It's my job to furnish the panellists with some celebrity facts, and it's their job to establish whether or not those facts are true. First, those dreaded words, it's Alan Titchmarsh.
Oh, what a wonderful thing to be, a healthy, grown-up, busy bee. Toying with the tulips, tasting every type, building up the honeycomb that looks like tripe. I'd like to be a busy little bee, being just as busy as a bee can be. Flying all round the wild hedgerows, stinging Geoffrey Smith upon his parson's nose. Buzz, 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 honeybee, honey, buzz if you like, but don't sting me. Buzz, 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 honeybee, honeybee, buzz if you like, but don't sting me.
Is that a proper programme?
It was actually broadcast.
Yeah,
that
really
was a
was.
television show.
Well,
It was part of Shit Week.
So here is the related fact. Alan Titchmarsh's waxwork at Madame Tussauds gets kissed so often that it has to have the lipstick washed from its face twice a week.
yeah. But since Alan moved to Scotland, he can only get there once a week, so they don't have to do it anymore. I don't believe people rush up and kiss Alan Titchmarsh.
Do you reckon he ever just goes there and stands still?
I mean, the idea that people walk up and kiss the statues rather than have their photo took. However, you wouldn't be intimidated by a waxwork of Alan Titchmarsh. I think you would walk up and get matey, probably do that, kiss his cheek. Yes, I think there might be something in this.
I also imagine that the people who want to kiss Alan Titchmarsh might wear quite a lot of lipstick. You know?
What exactly are you saying?
I was imagining sort of, you know, powdery old ladies with, you know, hideously misapplied. Reeking of lavender and gin.
and mumbling to themselves, busy bee, busy bee, busy bee, busy bee.
The Queen did say about Alan Titchmarsh, you've given a lot of ladies a lot of pleasure.
She has got a filthy sense of humour. I think I'm moving towards believing this.
I'm moving towards believing it. I'm saying yes.
I'll go with you because you are captain.
Yes,
Okay,
I think it's true.
Well, we think it's true.
They're saying it's true, and I can tell you it is absolutely true. Yes, it is true. Alan Titchmarsh's waxwork figure does have lipstick washed from its face twice a week. Likewise, the Kylie Minogue figure has to be washed twice a week, ironically by Jason Donovan, who works there part-time as a cleaner. Also, every week, James Blunt's figure has to have the dents beaten out of it. And Michael Jackson's waxwork has been melted down and now looks exactly like him. So a cursory glance at the score is enough to remind us that it's Lee's team who seem to be holding all the cards, leading as they do 4-2. Our next round goes by the unfinished title of This Is My, in which Lee's team will each claim to have a connection with our mystery guest, and David's team take it upon themselves to find out who's telling the truth. 3 possibilities, 2 lies, 1 truth, and no option but to plough on. This week, no fewer than 2 guests, so please welcome tonight's special guest people, Chris and Jill. So, Russell, what are Chris and Jill to you?
This is Chris and Jill. I interviewed them on my radio show because they claimed that they were abducted by aliens.
Michael, perhaps you'd like to tell us how you know Chris and Jill.
This is Chris and Jill, who are fellow members of the Guildford Walking and Dining Club.
And finally, Lee, your relationship with Chris and Jill.
This is Chris and Jill. They once helped me dispose of a dead body after I killed a man in a car park. Not really, just trying to add a bit of spice to proceedings. This is Chris and Jill, and
Right.
I once slept in their shed for a whole summer.
So there you have it, some abducted radio fans, according to Russell, some rambling diners, according to Michael, or Lee's personal shed landlords. David.
This absurdity about alien abduction.
Well, they claimed it. That's why we interviewed them.
What was the story they told you?
We read it in the Alton Gazette, and then we interviewed them because apparently they met some guy called Zargon, I think. This is about a year ago. And Zargon he was upset... No, Zargon. It's their story, I'm relating it, Joe should have
Okay.
And
it may be their story you're relating it, but it may also be bullshit you're thinking up now.
Zargon work at Argon.
No, he doesn't! But this is where it gets very, very bizarre, because Zargon started asking her what this was, pointing at a wheelie bin. And Jill had to explain what a wheelie bin was, which she did very well. And then they woke up in a skip the next day.
Where did they meet Zargon?
I did suggest that maybe they got drunk and woken up at a fancy dress party, but they declined that. Apparently they went to his ship, which looked a bit like, and I quote, a Yates's wine lodge, but full of aliens.
Where were they when the ship abducted them?
Just outside Coventry.
Were they in the car?
They were briefly in the car before they were sucked out of it.
So they're driving the car, they get sucked out of their car, they're thinking, what the hell's going on? The car is rudderless, carrying on the Coventry bypass. So then there they are in the Yates's wine bar with all the other aliens.
I'm sorry, David, but what part of this story doesn't add up?
It's their story, and what a story it is.
So maybe you'd like to talk to Michael now.
Yes. So, again, these people you know from...
from Guildford. Chris is the Edmund Hillary of the home counties, and Jill is the Delia Smith of the outfit. Yeah.
And it is a rambling and dining
Walking
society.
and dining. Guildford, walking and dining. Which bit of this don't you understand? We can go out for a walk and then we go and dine.
And you go around someone's house to dine, you don't go to a restaurant?
Yes, we do. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what's happened the most recent meeting? Where did you walk? Whose house did you eat at? What did you have?
Well, it was actually yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
And where was the walk?
It was in Surrey, near Guildford. It was Leatherhead. Leatherhead.
Who was hosting the dinner?
Zargon. Not our house, not Chris or Jill's house, but another couple in the group.
Can you bother to make up the name of two people?
I think this is far too plausible.
Yeah, but you haven't even finished the story yet.
Go
it's
on,
a
what
big
happened then?
swingers thing, and they all get together.
They're not blushing, they're not blushing.
What's the shed scenario, Lee?
It's a thing that poor people have in the garden to put tools in.
I know what a shed is.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Why were you sleeping in a shed?
Well, it's a good question, David.
Thank you.
It's when I first came to London, and a friend of mine who lived in London introduced me to Chris and Jill. I slept I rented a room off them, a spare room, and they had renovations done, and so I had to leave. And I was desperate, and we came up with this ingenious plan where I would sleep in the shed.
When you say shed, you mean like a proper one you see in a garden centre, or is this just
No, this was...
It was what it
yeah,
was?
no, it wasn't... It was a proper shed. It wasn't, you know, insulated or any of that. It didn't have any electrics, any plumbing or anything.
These good people don't look like the kind who would tolerate someone living out in the shed. They look like the kind of people who look at each other and go, we can't have that, we can't have that, we'll put him up at our sissies.
Yeah, but you say that, don't let that look deceive you, because they also once helped me bury a man that I killed in a garden.
There is that.
I must say, I'm finding the most plausible story at the moment to be Lee's.
Absolutely.
There are definitely people in the world who think they've been abducted by aliens. Radio stations certainly would get in touch with them and try and sort of exploit their muddle-headedness.
We had a fantastic Sunday. Great Sunday.
But I think the story would be less...
insane.
Sort of,
It's their story. Don't mock them. They're good people. They just had a tricky weekend.
I know I'm in a situation where if it turns out it is your story, I have, by, you know, accident, sort of mocked them, and I apologise for that in advance if that is the case. However, I don't believe aliens exist, and there's no getting around the fact that if that is the story, I think you are a bit wrong about that.
All right, we need an answer. So, David's team. Are these people Russell's radio abductees? Are they Michael's rambling dining companions or Lee's shed providers? Anton, what do you reckon?
I think I'm going for Lee's shed.
Yeah.
I think the shed, because I think the rambling society is obviously very plausible, but it's so very plausible. We'll go with Lee.
Yeah. Right, they're saying it's Lee's. Well, perhaps Chris and Jill would like to tell us who they really are.
We are, in fact, companions of Michael's in walking and dining.
So congratulations to them. Yes, Chris and Jill are indeed Michael's walking and dining friends. Sometimes reading the news just isn't exciting enough. So at the end of that round, well, it appears to be David's team who are struggling to make an impression, trailing as they are 5-2. Not a moment too soon, we come to the final round, quickfire lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth, but against the clock. Again, they don't know whether they're going to be reading out a true fact about themselves or a made-up lie that they've never seen before. Plus, they may also be suddenly given a possession in this round, which they will have to claim as theirs and may go some way to explaining the general air of panic. David's team are behind, so need to get even, not mad, starting with Lee.
My parents had to change my name to Lee because I couldn't pronounce my real name properly.
What was your real name?
Don't make him force
my real name, I was actually christened Leo. Now, I know what you're thinking, why can't I pronounce Leo? But I don't know what it was, but I had a slight speech impediment.
What speech impediment? Speech impediment, you can't say O's.
It was awful. Lee could never convey surprise.
The thing is, I had a very weird speech impediment. It was, I couldn't stop. So I used to say, Leo... and it used to go on for a long time, so they got a bit sick of it.
At what age did they, say, oh, he's never going to learn? You know,
Well,
he's
it
2.
was-
He can't even say his name.
It was about the age of about 4, something like that. Because they used to call me Lee anyway. They used to abbreviate Leo, and they said, you know what, let's just leave it at Lee.
But why would they do that, though? Keep it to Lee.
Yeah.
And why at your age
Maybe
would you
if
carry
we
on with
knock
Lee?
off a syllable, he'll stop there. I mean, he might have gone Lee. Which in a way is worse. He's even more boring than Leo.
Well, P.G. Woodhouse was known as Plum all his life because his name's Pelham. And when he was little, he couldn't say it. So there is precedent.
And you're quite like P.G. Woodhouse in lots of other ways.
Well, I can't buy this because I don't think parents would change. Will you?
No, I think at the age of 4 they'd go, oh, he'll learn. We wanted to call him Leo.
So, I think it's a no. We don't believe it.
Alas.
Yeah.
Alas, I think Lee is enough.
Yeah, we think it's a lie.
It's a unanimous lie. Lee, tell us, truth or lie?
It's a lie.
Yeah. It is a lie. Lee's parents did not change his name because he couldn't pronounce his real name properly. It's difficult when you're stuck with an embarrassing name from your parents, which is why Fifi Trixabel Geldorf now refers to herself as Fifi Trixabel Smith. Next, Michael.
Ah. It says possession here, so...
Open your box and tell us what's in it.
Ah, here we are.
Oh, it's a dead body.
This is an ashtray that I stole from 10 Downing Street.
An audible gasp.
Where did you secrete it?
I put it in my raincoat pocket, actually, because you can get to the cloakroom, you know, during the whole... I'd had, I have to say, a couple of drinks, and I popped it in the... You know, I've got a raincoat with quite big pockets. They don't search you when you go out.
Is there anything on it that identifies it as 10 Downing Street? Don't look at it.
No.
Which Prime Minister were you stealing it from?
Tony Blair.
Oh,
well,
who knows?
Forget it.
Who knows how you could have changed history? Shall we go to war, Sherry, or not? I'll have a cigar and think about it. No ashtray! We'll go to war! That's what you did. That's the consequences. Are you proud of what you did?
No, I do feel very guilty about it. But actually, it wasn't...
Yet you show it off on television.
I like the idea of you pie-eyed on a bus, just go, psst. It's Tony Blair's, and people go, is it, mate? Is it?
Is it? Have you had it valued?
I do like the idea of Michael turning up on the Antique Roadshow and going, could you value this, Michael? It's a wonderful piece. Where did you get it? I robbed it from 10 Downing Street.
Do you normally nick stuff?
It was...
Archbishop Tutu, at the end of your interview, said, my cross, it was here, right?
It's actually, you are dressed quite like a jewel thief. The lights suddenly go off.
What are you thinking, David?
What do you think?
Well, I think it's the truth.
I have to say, it doesn't look to me like it's hugely valuable, but I think it's kind of substantial enough that it could have been in 10 Downing Street.
David,
well,
an answer.
you think it's true.
I was thinking that it's true.
You think it's...
I don't think it's true. It's your call.
Right, so, Michael, I think it's a lie.
He's saying it's a lie. Michael, reveal all.
It's a lie.
Well done, it is a lie. Well done, Captain. It's a lie. Michael did not steal an ashtray from 10 Downing Street. He couldn't, as his pockets were too full of the Woolworths pick and mix he'd lifted earlier on. Next, Anton.
I was a teenage boxer. But I quit because I had a mouth ulcer.
Where did you box?
In Sevenoaks, where I lived.
A school or
No,
in a boxing club or what?
in a boxing club.
What was the club called?
It was called Sevenoaks Boxing Club.
That's very handy. So what was... are you a boxing fan, then?
Yes, I am.
Still are, yeah?
Yeah.
So what, can you tell me the name of a couple of moves?
There's that familiar...
The punch.
Yeah, there's that familiar thing called the right-handed punch.
Anton, hang on. The right-handed punch, yeah? Any more?
And there's the other one, it's a very nifty move.
It's not the
called
left-handed punch, is it? Yeah,
What was your boxing nickname?
I was Anton the Killer. Dubek.
Did you at this time have an interest in ballroom dancing?
It was about the same time I started ballroom dancing.
Wow, the same time?
I used to do boxing on a Tuesday night and ballroom dancing on a Wednesday night.
I'll tell you what, those other boxers must have been quaking in their boots. Oh, not the ballroom dancer!
Yeah, in fairness, they'd never catch it if you started tangoing around the ring. That was brilliant.
You just grab hold of them in a clinch to sort of move them round. I'm leading!
Who are your boxing heroes?
My boxing heroes...
Wayne Sleep, Rudolph Nureyev, the whole...
You're quite an all-rounder, weren't you? Because you're good at football as well.
I was good at football, yeah. I played for the county.
Why did you give up that? A veruca? Do you know, I've just got an image of you now dancing with one of the celebrities, going like that all suave and going, I get a lot of mouth ulcers, man.
When I was a boy, I grew out of it, really. I'm all right now, ladies.
So, Lee, do you believe Anton?
I reckon that's true.
I think it's true.
Yeah.
OK, well, we'll go with true.
OK, they're saying it's true. Anton, gospel or garbage?
Anton the Killer. Dude, it's true.
It is true. Yes, it is. Next. Danny.
I won a jukebox off Vinnie Jones in a game of poker.
Where did this take place?
It was actually within the BBC. I used to do a football show called 606. And Vinnie turned up, and if you know Vinnie Jones, you end up either hunting, doing that thing with the clay pigeon shooting, or playing cards with him. And so I fell into a game of cards, and I don't play cards very well, but absolutely thrashed him. I've no idea about poker, let me say that, none.
Oh, that's handy for this Inquisition, isn't it? Got that in quick, didn't you?
No, and I used to call it 21.
You must remember the hand that you had when you won the
Yes, I do remember the hand that I had, and it was two queens.
What did he have that you beat?
I've no idea. I cannot remember that. I'd like to say I could. But the fact is, he said, I'll tell you what I'll play for. You like music, don't you? I've had a jukebox given to me for some promotion he was doing. I don't want it. And so he said, I'll have it. And it became a running joke on the show, if any of you remember it.
Oh, I do remember. I used to listen to the show a lot and don't remember that running joke.
Have you still got it?
No, I haven't. A brother-in-law has got it in an arch over at Nun Head.
What arch are you talking about?
It's an arch. It's their workplace. In railway arches in London, loads of people work within them.
What, so it's on the railway track above the arch?
No, in the arch.
It's the first time I've ever heard the phrase, it's in the arch.
Lee, one of the advantages of language is you don't have to have heard the whole phrase recently to be able to divine its meaning.
What type of jukebox is it?
It's not a Wurlitzer, it's not a Rockola.
Is it an AMI 1959 J Selection 200? Because that's what I've got.
Have you really? Oh, lovely stuff.
Yeah, I won it off Paul Gascoigne in a game of Skittles.
So, Lee, is this sounding plausible?
I think it's true, but I find Danny so charming I can listen to him.
There's a bit of unessential detail there, isn't it? Don't you think?
If it was anybody else, I would say it's definitely a lie. But there's something about Danny Baker which stinks of the truth. Michael's saying it's a lie, you're saying it's the truth. I'm going to go for age over youth. And I'm going to say that that is, in fact, a lie.
OK, they're saying it's a lie. Danny, what is the truth?
Well, we could get a cab to Nun Head, and I couldn't show it to you. It's a lie.
Yes, it is a lie. Danny did not win a jukebox off Vinnie Jones in a game of poker. Vinnie must be great at poker, since, as proven by all his films he's been in, his face betrays no emotion whatsoever. Which joyless buzzing sound means at the end of tonight's show, it's Lee's team who are this week's demigods, having lorded over David's team 7-6. So, overnight stardom to our winners, instant obscurity for our losers, and we leave you with a reminder that some of the most common lies that people tell are sex-related. The three most popular being, I'll still respect you, no, I don't fancy your mother, and yes, of course, I've got the keys to those handcuffs. Good night.
Friday comedy continues here on BBC One with the street-savvy fighter pilots and the sat-nav that bites back from Armstrong and Miller next. And later, the drunken Scots philosopher in the dirty string vest. The comedy connections of Rabseed Nesbitt at 10:35.